welcome to video 3 of our launch series. This is a video series that's going to take you from having an idea to actually launching a business. And you'll see today, for this session, I've got a bit of a special guest with me because we're going to step through kind of the secret sauce to your idea. But before we dig into that, Trudy, tell me a little bit about you and tell us a little bit about you. What do you do and what brings you here today?
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. So I have a business called Vend. I help businesses to tell their story to the world. I think that we all have a story to tell, whether that's your personal story or your business story, and I help organizations get theirs out there. So that's helping them with their website, helping them with copywriting for newsletters or marketing material, and just getting that out there to the world.
Fantastic. So I guess in many ways, a brand's story or a business's story kind of is their secret sauce, right?
Yeah, that's right. You want to tell a story about why people should buy your product or service, and that is the secret sauce, really.
Cool. So why is it so important to know what your story is and to know what makes your idea different or better to everybody else?
Yeah, so I guess it comes down to why should somebody buy from you? Why should they choose your product or service compared to the person or the business next to you? And your secret sauce is going to set you apart and give people a reason to want to engage with your brand.
So basically our secret sauce is identifying what makes our idea different or better. What's kind of the first stage in being able to do that?
Yeah, I guess the first stage comes down to understanding who you're up against. So doing a bit of market research and seeing what the competition is offering.
Fantastic. And I have to say, of all of the young people and old people I work with in entrepreneurship, it always surprises me that they're not able to articulate who is also in their market. Is this something that you come across as well?
Yeah, so regularly. I mean, it's really great to come up with an idea and you get all excited and you want to just run out and get that out there. But quite often there may be someone out there with a pretty similar idea, and so it's really important to understand what's going on in your local area, in the similar target market, and in the similar product or service market, so that you know how to differentiate yourself.
Amazing. So we're actually going to dig in and do some market research now. And as we've been doing the whole way along in our video series, any of the links or templates that we're using today, you can actually find in the description for this video. So feel free, if you haven't already, to hit pause and then find the document that we're talking about. But what we're digging into here is there's some great resources that are available through Business Queensland and talking about conducting a market research. And we're going to look at that field research element, which is basically jumping on your laptop and spending some time with Google to find out who else is playing in the space. So we're going to give you 7 to 10 minutes now to research as many competitors as you can find to your business, and we want at least 10, and we want you to think in 3 spheres of influence. The first one is local, so who's operating within sort of 10 to 50k of where you are and doing something similar to you. We then want you to look at nationally, so who else is a player in your country, and we also want you to look globally at what other solutions or similar solutions exist internationally, because they might actually help inform some unique value propositions, which we'll talk about a little bit, for your product or service. So 7 to 10 minutes, dig in and find at least 10 competitors locally, nationally, and globally, and we'll see you soon. Trudy, what do we do with all of these competitors that we've just suddenly identified? Because to be honest, I might be a little bit worried now that I've identified lots of them.
Yeah. Don't be worried. So the idea of analysing your competitors is really to identify opportunities for you to be able to stand out from them. So it's great that you've got a whole range of them. What we want to do is do a competitor analysis. So go through some of these competitors and look at their price points, their target market, their location, and what sets them apart and why people are purchasing from them. And then we want to compare that to our business. So rather than dig into the detail of all 10 of those, if that's how many you've got, start with 3. So you might pick one that is local to you, so in that 10 to 50 kilometre radius. You might pick one that is similar in terms of product or target market, so the most similar to your business. And then look at another that is the most well-known. So that might be a global brand, for example, that is most well-known in your space that you're playing in.
Wicked. So we're going to give you a couple of minutes now. We're going to hit pause and we want you to synthesize those competitors that you've identified to pick the 3 that we want to dig a little bit deeper into. And so as Trudy said, pick one that's maybe a famous global brand, like that kind of mark that people recognize. Pick one that's most similar to you, and then pick somebody who's closest to you. So somebody who's a local competitor. And we'll see you in a couple of minutes. All right, team, we've done some synthesis. We have our top 3 competitors that we want to do a deep dive. We're now going to do this thing called a competitor analysis. And so for everyone playing at home, again, you can actually download this template from the link that's in the description to this video. And there's actually an exemplar in there for us to follow, which I think is going to really help us here. But Trudy, step us through how do we do a competitor analysis with these 3 brands?
Yeah. So when you do a competitor analysis, you want to look out for some key things that your competition are doing, and you want to research this online and just take notes of it. So what are their products or services? Write those down. What are their price points? Write those down. And are they similar to yours? You want to look at the sales channels that they're using to get their product or service out there. So where do they sell it? Do they have a website? Are they using Instagram or Facebook? You also want to have a look at their strengths, their weaknesses. So that can help you to identify some opportunities, but it can also help you to see the threats that there may be from the competition. And then just take note of any other noticeable or notable features for the business. And that's really how you run a competitor analysis, just some of those key items for each of those businesses.
Fantastic. So what you'll see on that template is that we've got our 3 columns for our 3 main competitors. We've also got an option for us to put our details down so that we've got that comparison point as well. And the biggest thing to identify here is we're looking for those opportunities, which are kind of like the gaps in what they're offering and perhaps what we could offer. And we're also identifying the threats, which are the things that maybe we won't be able to compete with as well. And if we know this before we launch our business, then we can actually pivot our idea so that we can have the value we need in order to appeal to our target audience in our market. So we're going to give you 30 to 60 minutes now, and you'll notice that each time we pause you for a task, it's a different length of time that we're allocating to that task because we're thinking about how long you should take to do that, to cover those details off for your business, and then also to cover those details off for those 3 other businesses. You might need 30 to 60 minutes to deep dive into that. And Trudy, what might happen if we just skim across the top of this and we don't actually deep dive into these businesses? What are the risks in sort of doing a surface scan and not taking that 30 to 60 minutes to dig in?
There's a couple of risks with that, Nicole. So the first is you might miss an opportunity. There may be a gap in the market that the current competitors aren't actually servicing very well. So that could be an opportunity for you to capitalize on. Or you could miss a potential threat. You know, if that business is offering something that is quite similar to you and they're already well known and established in the market, there's potential for customers to just bypass you completely unless you really know what you're up against.
Awesome, guys. Well, you've heard it from our font of knowledge here around competitor analysis. So we're going to dig in for 30 to 60 minutes and really take the time, obviously using that exemplar to inform your own competitor analysis, to identify our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunity, our threats, the different price points of the different products, key activities, and some of those other parts and pieces for our competitor analysis. We'll see you back in an hour. Welcome back, everyone. We've just obviously done our deep dive into our competitor analysis, and hopefully we've identified some opportunities and perhaps we've stumbled across some threats, which might seem a little bit scary when we found them, but better to find them now than later. There's this thing that we come across in business all the time that everyone refers to, and it's that whole unique value proposition. What is a unique value proposition, and why is it so important for our young businesses to identify theirs?
Yeah, so we did touch on this a little at the beginning, but a unique value proposition really is a statement that articulates why somebody should buy from you. Why should they choose your product or service over the competition now that you know who's out there?
Awesome. So ultimately what we're looking at here is what makes your business compelling. So we're going to take the information that we've garnered from our competitor analysis, and we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into a value proposition template. So everyone playing at home, you can access that template in the description below this video. How do we step through this process?
Yeah, so it's quite simple. You want to start by listing out your key activities, so your products or services. And then you want to list out all of the key benefits of your product or service. And you want to align those benefits with how they add value to your customer. So for example, in my fictitious t-shirt business, we provide customized words or graphics that you can choose to go on your t-shirt. And that adds value to the customer because it helps them to be unique and stand out with their clothing choices, for example. So you might want to list out, say, half a dozen benefits and their corresponding values. And then from there, you want to look at the problems that your customer is experiencing. So note down some of their frustrations and just start to tease that out. And then from there, what you want to do is articulate how those benefits of your product or service alleviate the customer's frustrations and problems. So for example, in our fictitious t-shirt business, our customers might be frustrated by the lack of sustainability in affordable t-shirt options. So our product solves that problem by sourcing fully sustainable local t-shirts made in Australia.
Awesome. And so you've identified a few different ways that things can be value propositions. So we're obviously not just talking about the features of the product itself, but it can also be how that product gets to your customer as well. So one example I can think of is like a company like Who Gives a Crap with their toilet paper identified that one of the problems that people buying toilet paper faced was that it was super bulky to get at home. And so one of the unique value propositions that they offer is that it gets delivered to your door so that you don't have to go to the shops and actually pick it up. So what we're saying here is these, I guess, features and benefits and problems that we're identifying don't have to be with the garment or the product itself, but it can be how we engage with that product or service, or what's missing from the relationship between the customer and also the service provider as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. Think about the frustrations that your customer is having, whether that's to do with how they engage with the brand, how they purchase, or perhaps even give feedback. And then you can start to list out some benefits and the value of those. And then once you've done that, you also just want to articulate what is it about all of these things that you've done that then sets your business apart. So start to articulate that final value proposition.
Awesome. So we're going to dig in there. You've got the template in front of you. We're going to complete that UVP template for your business. And this one should take you about 15 to 20 minutes. So do dig in and obviously use all the information that you've garnered from your competitor analysis to inform your business's unique value proposition and what you offer your customer. We'll see you in about 15 to 20. Welcome back, everyone. We have one last thing to do to finish this session off. It's been a pretty jam-packed session. We've done our competitor analysis, we've identified our unique value propositions, and we just need to now go back to our business models template in order to carry some of the information across from this session onto that template. So the things that you identified on your UVP template, that your unique value propositions for your business, we want you to jot those down in your business models canvas to finish this session off.